Hello YouTube, welcome to Home and Garden Fix and Tricks. I'm Michael. In today's video, I am going to outline, as the title of the video said, how I become the richest teacher in Jamaica. Now, I know some people hear this and say, richest teacher in Jamaica, what am I talking about? Teacher can rich? Yes, teachers can rich. Just like how you can have bankers who are poor, you can have teachers who are rich. Same way, no difference. It all boils down to one thing. Stay tuned to find out what is that. People had to change the location because of some construction that was going on at the front of the property. Now, this is a disclaimer. When I say richest teacher, I don't mean financial richness. At least I am not rich financially as yet, but I am getting there. I am working towards that. What I do mean though is a rich mindset, because let me say this, you cannot be rich or wealthy with a poor mindset. And I realize, and this is because of years of experience, observation, I realize that a lot of Jamaicans all over the world, yard and abroad, they are in their predicament because of their mindset. So once we change our mindset, our outlook, then the rest is history. So in this video, what I'm going to do, I'm going to outline how I became or how I become the richest teacher in Jamaica because of a change in mindset. Now people, let me give you a backstory, and maybe some of you who are watching can identify with some of these things that I'm about to say. Now, let me tell you the mindset that I had before this journey. So one, I used to complain a lot. I used to get up and go, especially on social media, and I used to say, yo, nothing now go on in the country. Government for do this. We need a raise of pay. We need everything. Government now do that. The economy hard. At one point I even wanted to change my job because it was not rewarding for me anymore financially. That is, especially the children now being so rude. I was saying all of these things. And two, I used to have a crisis outlook or a negative outlook on life. My outlook was always a doom and gloom. Nothing now go on. Don't know where this thing will go. Jamaica is on a road to hell and everything negative. I used to say these things on a daily basis. So if you can identify with this, it simply means that this video is for you. And people, I must tell you, in all of this, it's not like I was, throwing in the towel and say, giving up. I was always trying, but at the same time, I was trying and still complaining. You know them type of thing there? Yeah, I try, but you still a complain. And nothing wrong with complaining, But when you watch this video, you're going to see me talk about say complaining not going to be the solution. And complaining is just wasting your energy and something that you really can't change. You have to work on the variables them where you can change. So, for the people that out there who up on social media and I complain, I knock you. Because I say complain is a good thing. It's a releasing your stress and your frustration. But at the same time, in doing so, you have to do these things. So adjust that. So people, what heralded the change in mindset for me and what were the motivating factors? Let us go through them. So the first one for me, people, is maturity of mindset. When I touched 30, I realized that I am getting old. My father used to tell me that all we are old one time. So I start to look at life different. I wanting to have substance to my life, meaning to my life. So I begin to see the glass half full rather than half empty. Start to have a different approach. Start to see the good in everything. Start to see opportunity in every crisis. That level of mind mindset I am talking about. Rather than to be negative, rather than to complain, I ask questions like, how can I make this better? How can I better my life? What can I do? What can I change? Things like this. So I start to assess my life holistically. And that was, to me, the dawning moment. That was the moment where I begin to see the light. And that I have to give credence to for my success. So for me, it was a mature mindset. It was a change in mindset. A maturity, a developed mind comparing to my earlier years. Two, I could say financial literacy and self-investment. At this point now, I started to read books. Read the first book, bought it from Amazon, Rich Dad Poor Dad. I suggest that people go and read that book. And I started to read and to interview people, successful people in my own family. Started to talk to them, listen to their story, listen to their adversity. And I begin to say, okay, I can do it. If them can do it, I can do it. And this one is the third one, people. The need to build a lasting and successful legacy for my children. That for me was a big one. It was a major one. So I started to say that this is a very critical point in my life. And this is the time where I need to start to build wealth for myself and my family. Not only in my lifetime, but even after my lifetime, when I would have passed. Because one of the worst things is when, and this is critical now, I want people to listen to this now, is when you can live happy now and okay now, but after you passed away, especially when you have young children, and then now things are not in place for them and they have to struggle. The struggle is real, as they say. I faced the struggle. I was raised in a single parent. My mother raised me without a father. So I know what it is like to go through suffering and frustration. So I did not want that for my children. So when I did touch 30 years old, that was a pivotal time for me. It's a watershed moment, as you will say, in my life, when I said I need to start to look into building myself and building wealth for myself and my children for years and years to come. Not only in my lifetime, but even after my lifetime. So that's 3. So yes, people, so let us look at how these changes, or how this new information, this awakened state, if you may say, of consciousness, how it started to manifest in my life. What are some of the tangibles, the takeaways? 1, so I found myself creating business ideas. Right? I started to implement, not only have them in thought, but I started to implement. I started to action them. So one of the first business that I create, and remember, people, for those people who don't know, I am a trained agricultural science teacher. So one of the first business I created was a landscaping business. Still have it. It is not registered, but it is still there from time to time. I will still go and do landscaping work. But I realized that I was getting older, and landscaping is something that takes a lot from you in terms of physical stamina. So and at the same time, I have my main job. So I had to scale it down a bit. But that was one of the first. The name of the company is Professional Landscape Limited. So that was the first one. 2, I start to budget. So I started budgeting, and just to see if I can save some money, because one of the things that you don't want is to be getting your finances and then doing stuff that you're losing money. Is like a big hole inside of your budget. So I started keenly to budget, to save money, to see where I could save, because my aim now and my objective now was to save and to invest, so that I can have, as I said, a better life for not only myself but my children and generation to come. I also must say that I also adapt a conservative, because I was always a conservative person in all aspects of my life. So I was more conservative in terms of my spending and thrifty. I always want to save. So if, for example, I was going to buy, if I have $300,000 to buy a fridge, for example, I would shop around to get the best price. I wouldn't just go out and buy the first fridge I saw for $300,000. I will even look into buy something that is a used item versus a new item, because sometimes you can save upward of 60-70% on a used item, very good used item, right, versus buying a new item. So those are some of the things that I adapted in my personal life that bear fruit, as they will say. Thirdly, I started to save, and I all this is always a touchy topic, because even at work, when I will tell people that, my, especially my friends, boy, if I see if I can see, it's a boy, the money little, and it's small already. It's like the cake is so small, I really can't save anything from it. But as I always say to them, that if your salary is $10 or is $100, and the government decide tomorrow morning to take 20 cents from that $100, you will still survive on the $80 or the 80 cents or the and the $80, because I said $100. So you will still survive on the $80. Right? You will not roll over and die. So the point I am making is, saving is always a sacrifice. It is not something that you say, we can't afford to do it. It's a sacrifice. You have to deal with savings as if it is debt. It is debt owed to someone, and you have to pay it. Because really and truly, when you save, it's really a rainy day that you're saving for later on, so that you can be independent and you don't have to go and borrow. And it is that saving that some of us don't have that put us into perpetual borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. So look at saving as something like a tax. It's just that you impose that tax on yourself. So that is how I looked at it. My advice is to save at least 10% of your salary. At least 10%. You can go higher, but at least. And also, and this is information that I would have garnered, experiences and new information, new knowledge through research and so forth, based on the financial experts and the financial advisors out there. They will tell you that you need to have at least 3 months of living expense saved up in your savings account. So for example, what do I mean? If your monthly expense is $200,000 Jamaican, you should have at least $600,000 locked away in your savings account for a rainy day. The government all around the world have these, they call them reserves, right? So Jamaica, for example, have the international reserves of millions of dollars, maybe billions of dollars, saved up, locked off somewhere for a rainy day in case of any disaster. From a family, from a household point perspective, we should also have this money saved up. But a lot of us in Jamaica, we don't have this type of saving. So tomorrow, what it means that tomorrow, or if you lose your job, it means that you would not be able to survive for the next month, because you don't have that level of saving save up. And it is just a reality that we have to live from hand to mouth, because that is the reality. And so therefore, it does not allow us to have that minimum, say 600,000 if your monthly expense is 200,000, or if it's 100,000, 300,000. So that's the aim. You must always aim to save up at least 3 months of living expense in your savings account. Any more money than that in your savings account is just wasting. Because I always tell my colleague that when you have money in your savings account, basically you're throwing away your money, because every year your money loses value, right? If you have $1 million in your savings account, and you're getting like 1%, 2% interest on your money, after the year you get 2% on $1 million, and inflation was 3 or 4%, you see where you have lost money. You would have lost 2%, 2 to 3% of your money. So money saved up in your savings account is waste. It's a waste of time. It is better you invest it. Investment can mean business, stocks, bonds, trade, you name it. You can do those things. Or simply, one of the best investment is investing in yourself. Meaning that either you're going to go back to school, either you're going to retool in terms of getting additional skill sets so that you can earn more money at the job, or you can get an additional skill where you can make additional money from. For example, me doing YouTube now is a skill that I've adapted from 2019. I said, you know what, I want to own this skill and develop this skill to help people, because I have to think myself as a knowledgeable person and I have something to offer. So I invest in myself, or in my YouTube channel, by getting a nice phone, getting a gimbal and so forth, and started my channel. And now 5 years after, I begin to earn. a little bit of money, but guess what? It will grow and it can multiply. It have a snowball effect. So that's it. So I did say everyone should at least save at least 10% of their income. The next 15 to 20% you can invest that. Right, and then the remaining 70% you live from that. You live off that. You use that as your daily, monthly or your daily living. So remember, aim to save at least 10% and invest 20%, and the remaining 70% you can live from that. Now I know that not everybody will be able to do this because we're talking about Jamaica, right, as a third world country. Because we are a third world country does not mean you must have a third world outlook. We can have a first world outlook, because if we are to achieve first world status, therefore mean we have to start with a positive mindset, right? So I know damn well that not everybody will be able to do this, but at least this is something that we can aspire to. Because as I always say, you can have a very rich millionaire that have a poor mindset, and you have a simple man that on the road that have a rich mindset. Because at the end of the day, it all boils down to mindset. And that is why we see a lot of Jamaicans buying a lot of cars and investing in girls and all of these things. It's because they have a poor mindset. Because they see wealth is something. They see wealth as something that have flashy cars and nice clothes and whatever. And that is not really true wealth. That some of the time, most of the time, is just being boastful and selfish. True wealth is when you invest in yourself and you invest in those people who you love and you want to see better for them and have financial independence. That is true wealth. It is something of a mindset. It is not something you just look on the rich man. Them don't go out there and have 10 BMW park up in them driveway. No, maybe they drive the simplest car in the block, and at the same time they maybe own the entire block. That's how being the rich man role. It's just that we tend to see, as we start to own a little bit of resources, we start to invest in cars and girls and all these things. These things are triviality. Lastly, now, people, what is my hope? So my hope for my country and my people of Jamaica is to, one, see that Jamaica is a rich country. See that we don't have to run away to another man's country to be successful. See that we can realize our true potential and live out our true meaning of success in Jamaica. Jamaica land we love. See that opportunities exist here. See that we can build ourselves locally. And we don't have to run away, as I said, to other person's country to work blood, sweat and tears to build their country. So that's one. Two, to take advantage of the opportunities that are available locally. A lot of opportunities. I did a video 2-3 days ago about tree fruit crops and food being wasted in Jamaica. And trust me, a lot of person log on to that video. A lot of person like it. I think it got like 5,000 views in 2 days or so. So it tells me that a lot of persons out there want content like this. They want videos like these. All right. So we need to see Jamaica as, a place where opportunities exist despite the challenges. Because I know that Jamaica is a very challenging place. As they will say, Jamaica is not a serious place. It's not a real place, rather. People say that all the time because of the nature of our people and the way that we can get silly sometimes and do some crazy stuff. But despite all of that, Jamaica is still one of the best countries in the world. 3, to believe in ourselves and our abilities. Jamaican as government workers, as civil servants, as minimum wage earners, security guards, hotel workers, farmers, everybody, we have to see that our abilities worth something. We have to believe in our abilities. We have to know that if you have a drive and a passion, pursue those drive. So you may be working as a nurse, but your passion is really teaching. Maybe you want to transition into go into teaching, and vice versa. You may be a teacher and nursing is your passion. Right now, some of you may be a soldier, but really and truly, you see yourself as an engineer. Work on that. Work on your transition. Work on building and investing in yourself. Because at the end of the day, who you have to be true to? You have to true to yourself. Because if you don't true to yourself, then it means that you are cheating yourself. So believe in your abilities. If you have that ability, that business idea in your head that you wanted to do, From Wappy was a boy and now Wappy is a big man. Or with them say Wappy did kill Philip. Go out there and try it. As I said before, I have numerous businesses that I have started. Some of them failed, some of them succeeded. Right? Right now I have a honey business. Put it up now that you can see the brand. Right? This is something that we're working on now. So it therefore means that you just have to try. And I know people go and come and say, oh, but I don't have the resources, and I don't have the money, and I don't have this, and I don't have that. A lot of opportunities exist. A lot of opportunities exist. Right? You just have to put yourself in the know. Put yourself around people who are experienced. Ask questions. Don't just sit down and just get comfortable in your own circumstances. Change your circumstance. See everything, see the opportunity in everything. Believe in yourself and know that if others can do it, then you can do it. As Marcus Garvey said, up, up, you mighty race. Accomplish what you will. So you can do it. And lastly, I want my fellow Jamaicans, my African brothers and sisters, to have a rich mindset. I'm not talking about the typical rich man who is going to be selfish and greedy and all for himself, but to have a successful mindset, rich mindset, wealthy mindset, wealthy outlook. Do not sit and cry foul. Do not sit and throw in the towel and say, I can't do it. Because as me say, Marcus Garvey say, up, up, you might race. Accomplish what you will. So ladies and gentlemen, if you have that business idea in your head and you want to go, start it now. The time is now. When I was in primary, I leave with this thought. When I was in primary school, I went to it was an environmental seminar with some people, big people, government and non-government organizations. And I remember this speech that a gentleman made, and he said that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. No, me am 41 years old, I tell you, from the primary school, the man said that, The man said the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is now. I repeat, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the next best time is now. It therefore means what it means, If you did plant a tree 20 years ago, now you would have been benefiting from it. Say, for example, it was a fruit tree, it would be fruiting. If it was a tree for timber, you could cut it, you could get board, you could get lumber, you could get money from it. But he's also saying that the next best time is now. So if you never be the one who planted 20 years ago or even 5 years ago, the next best time is now. So I am going to tweak that saying to say the best time to start a business was 1 or 2 years ago. The next best time is now. So go out, action that idea, put it into action so that it can become a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, as I always say, it is not in gathering the most, but it is in sharing the most that the most is received. For Home and Garden Fix and Tricks, I'm Nicole. Peace.